Good morning, folks. Welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host, and we're in luck because we're in Pottawatomie County, just on the east side of Wamego, Kansas. And, you know, a lot of people collect things. They collect coins, they collect stamps, they collect baseball cards. But our next guest collects tractors, old tractors, and lots of them. You're going to want to see this. So, hang around. We got to take a break, and we'll start this show when we get back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host, and we're in luck because we're in Wamego, Kansas, and we're speaking with Jim Meinhardt in his tractor museum. And Jim, you've got a bunch of tractors here, and there's some beauties. And so before we start talking about individual tractors and some of your favorites, tell us a little bit on how you got started.
Well, I grew up in Paxico, Kansas, in the farm machinery business with my dad. He started about 1953. I worked for him until about 1967, and then I moved to Wamego and started a dealership here. Been selling for almost 50 years, and we started out with Alice Chalmers and took on New Holland and several other lines, and that's what we've been selling since, plus adding some other lines.
But when you first started, though, this dealership was Minneapolis Moline?
There was actually Minneapolis Moline tractor sitting on a lot, but we didn't pick up that dealership.
Okay.
So we started out with basically Alice Chalmers and New Holland. We started here, actually started in a small building with 5 people, and today we have 9 stores and about 150 people. The antique deal kind of came on. A guy came in one day and wanted to trade me a 1909 International truck on a small combine. I told him no. He came back, and I finally gave in. That may have started the whole process.
Became an antique tractor junkie at that point. That was you started with the hard stuff in 1909, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the 1909 truck. Yeah. And since then, most of the stuff we have here we've traded for. We have bought a few items. I've bought some items from dealers and also from farmers, and it just kind of grew from there. Got kind of stored everywhere, and then we finally built this building and kind of had the dreams of having a museum. And that's what we do today. We have old machinery. Hate to see it go to the salvage yard.
Right.
So we're trying to save that image for the farmers of the past, and we're trying to preserve this equipment. So we have a little bit of everything. The stuff inside our building, our museum, most of that's not for sale, but we have equipment outside that is for sale.
Right. Again, you've got a lot of tractors here. They all start, and how do you maintain them?
Well, everything in the museum will run. It'll take a little coaxing to get it going.
I bet.
Yeah, but everything did run when we brought it in here, and it wouldn't. And so we try to keep those tractors up and cars, keep them so they're up in shape. I have a guy that helps me full time, inside and outside the building on different equipment. And we just do the best we can in between everything else we do.
Well, some of these tractors here look like they just came off the factory floor, or maybe better than they came off the factory floor. I mean, these are immaculate.
The paint jobs might be better than the factory job. We were lucky to find a gentleman that would rebuild them for us, and he's done that for several years now, and so we just do one at a time and keep fixing them up.
Oh, man, this is wonderful. Jim, we got to take a break. Hang on here.
Okay.
Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, and Jim Meinhardt here at Wamego is still with us. And Jim, this is one of your first endeavors, wasn't it? The 1909 International? Tell us a little bit about it.
That's correct. This is the one I had mentioned that the guy came down, wanted to trade it to me, and I told him no. Didn't really have enough money to buy it or trade for it.